Forgot my volume was muted. Totally lost it there at the end. I was like, I kind of knew where I was going and then fell apart. Totally lost it. So, what up, everybody? Holla if you hear me. Oh, let me pause this. Look at this. Trained professional. So, if everybody can, let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me okay. Man, we got all kinds of people here already. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You know, I'm such a massive Zakk Wylde fan. And I was like, you know what? Let's learn some Zakk Wylde licks. So, Peppa Jams, let's roll. Metal X music into hizzy. Did I say Guitar Man? Guitar Man! What's that smell? Zakk has entered the building. I love Zakk. Especially early Zakk. Sorry if you guys see me looking down here. I'm just looking at the chat. All good. Looks good. Sounds good. Man, if you look good, sounds good, feel good, is good. So, sounds great. How's the vocals and the guitar? All the Zakk tricks. Hoping to hear some Pride. There's no Pride and Glory. You know what? I was just listening to it, though. I was listening to a horse called War. So maybe we can throw in a little bonus lick. I thought it was cool that... yeah, that little thing that he does, and I think that's Horse Called War. Play some Get Fiddle. That's right. Rippin'. Both sound good. Look at this. Look at us. Here we are. Us being us. Doing us things. Doomsday Robert, we need you. Doomsday Robert, we need you now. I always loved the as far as Black Label Society stuff goes, I think Blessed Hellride is my favorite Black Label Society stuff. I could never learn any of it because it was tuned so low, except for, I think, Destruction Overdrive was half step down. Oh, what happened? You know, forever, was it forever holding on? Something like that. I can't totally remember it, but I remember me and my buddy Steven wore that album out. Wylde is amazing live. Yeah. I mean, he's one of the, I just recently did that John Sykes video, if any of you guys seen it, and we lost Sykes, but I feel like Sykes had to have been a big influence on Zakk. Just the way they play is so similar. And another one of those guys, it just seems like just a natural born rock star, you know? Anytime you're around those guys, man, it's really fascinating to be around someone who just has kind of like I've never been around Zakk, so I don't know, but like an aura around them or something. So I don't know. Those guys just have it. Don't forget to smash that like button. Smash it up. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120 Really enjoyed your video. Thank you. You know what's funny? So I saw a lot of comments about this. Sorry, burping and everything over here. I'm just a disgusting pig. I did not know that Crying in the Rain was an old Whitesnake song, which is so funny to me because I remember listening, and I think I need to give old Whitesnake a second chance because I listened to it pretty early on while I was playing guitar, and that like more old schooly rock thing like that was just not my cup of tea. So I never got into anything before the 1987 album. Even Slide. I mean, I knew a couple things from Slide It In, but 1987 is really where Whitesnake started for me. So I didn't know that was like an old Whitesnake riff that Sykes just Sykesified. Because if you listen to like the original, sometimes I never got into old Whitesnake. I always thought Coverdale sounded great, and I think I heard it at the wrong time in my playing career and never went back to it. So I don't know any old Whitesnake, but if you listen to the original, it's like. So I'm listening to it, and I'm just like, oh, I totally see why that riff didn't appeal to me at the time. Like, now I hear it, and I appreciate it. I'm like, oh, it's a cool riff. But when I hear... Yeah, I mean, like... Like, I hear all that stuff. And like I said, I didn't even know who their old guitar players were, so people were mentioning Bernie and Mick something, and I'm just like, I don't even know who these guys are because I just haven't listened to it, so I need to like deep dive into that stuff. But Sykes is where Whitesnake started for me, so which is why. So it's just funny because I'm doing this whole video like, here's Sykes doing this, and all of my points were still valid, but that was not a Sykes riff, and I didn't know it. But that just shows you how much Sykes turned it into his riff, to where I'm like, I wouldn't even have thought twice, like, this is someone else's riff. Like, it just sounded like, I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's a Sykes riff. So, what thickness of pick do you use? I just use the cheapo Fender 1mm picks. Been playing the it's time to surrender. I can't remember now. There it is. So we'll get into the lesson here in just a second. We'll let people file in here for a few minutes, and then we'll dive into this. To anybody who wants it, Guitar Man, I just saw that you're here. If you are subscribed to my Everything membership, it's linked in the description there. You get the tabs for these live lessons that I've been doing here. So, Slowpoke music. So the link to sign up for that, if anybody is interested in that, is down below. It gets you all of my guitar courses that I have and all future guitar courses that are, just my solo guitar courses. If I do a course with someone else, you don't get that one because that's a different situation. But if the subscription thing is not your jam, that's cool. This week we have a sale on the Essential Sequencing lick as I hit my camera and it's probably shaking all over the place. So if you dig any of these Zakk licks that we're getting ready to do, Zakk used a lot of sequencing in his playing, and it's always been one of my favorite things that so many guys, even Sykes did it, a little less, but, Zakk does it a lot. If you're into Paul Gilbert, if you're into any of the 80s guys, sequencing was really the key to a lot of those iconic licks. Even stuff like, I mean, Ace Frehley was doing sequencing in his licks. So it's a cool thing, and 60% off during the live stream. Have you ever gotten into John 5? Amazing guitar player that is so underrated. You know, I've heard John 5 a lot throughout my time playing guitar, and his stuff personally didn't like speak to me, but I no denying how incredible he is as a guitarist, you know. There's 2 guitar mans, and it's throwing me off. I believe I'm only on your 80s licks. So Guitar Man 5051, which makes me want to say 5150. Yeah, so if you can buy the courses individually, or if you subscribe to the membership, you get all of my courses, as well as we do a monthly live Zoom call with any member who wants to show up, and we talk about stuff, and I usually teach you guys something in there. Like last week, we did a cool pedal tone, you know, workout lick. So it's at the last Sunday of every month is when we have our Zoom call. You need personal instruction. I totally understand that. Yeah, I don't do the individual lessons anymore, unfortunately. My favorite Zakk period was No Rest for the Wicked. Yeah. And Pride and Glory. I love Pride and Glory stuff. I mean, Book of Shadows, the first one was really, really good. I mean, the second one was good too, but the first one to me was extra special. And then, I mean, I love the No More Tears album. It's really cool stuff on there. But No Rest is just phenomenal. How much is that, Tony? So the membership is $15 a month. We just ran a sale on it that ended last week, but that's $15. And then like the course is normally $39, and it's 60% off. So I can't remember the exact number. It's like around $15 as well. So if the subscription thing is not your deal, you know, you can still buy courses individually, but also for pretty much the same price, you can get all the courses and just kind of peruse through them and do the Zoom call. No More was fabulous mix and master. Yeah, I think the sound of No More, No Rest, the drums, I didn't, you know, always like the way they sounded, but No More Tears is just amazing. But on that note, all of the licks that I'm going to show you here today are all from No Rest for the Wicked. So maybe, you know, we'll come back and revisit Zakk and maybe do No More, and then I mean, Osmosis had really cool stuff in it too, so it keeps going. Do I have a senior discount? I do not. Devil's Daughter, they're watching you. That's that cool hybrid picking thing in here. So 203 people here. Thank you all so much for showing up. And let's dive into this lesson. So, like I said, if you're a member, you can pull up the tabs. They are located in the members only videos section. And that's where you can watch the replays of these live streams if you want, because I do take them down afterwards. I'm just pulling up the tab so I make sure I teach the stuff right. Because I've always played this lick different. And then I started thinking about it, I'm like, wait, you can just do it all in one line. So I might show you a couple ways to play this. But the first one is from Fire in the Sky. So obviously a lot of people know Zakk's No More Tears solo. You know, that's an amazing, I mean, one of the greatest solos of all time, in my opinion. And there's that pentatonic section and that big build up. Not that. And tell me real quick before I move on, is that delay bothering you guys? If just be totally honest. If it is, I can just turn it off. because I don't want it to be echoing around and hindering any of you from learning this stuff. So I'll keep talking for a second. But there's that pentatonic section. Now, Zakk does a very similar run way back in Fire in the Sky. But it is extremely extended and then has the crazy ending on it, which I can't play. So, sounds great. Awesome. So, he has this... Zakk, and I talked about this in the Sykes video, Zakk is one of those guys who has like this next level speed. It's like warp speed. And I've never personally been able to obtain that, which is okay because, it's not about being as fast as these guys. It's about learning the licks and then doing your own thing with it. So Fire in the Sky has a lick that goes like this, and I encourage anybody to go listen to it. It's one of my favorite songs on there. I feel like no one really talks about Fire in the Sky. But it does this. And he just walks all the way up this A minor pentatonic scale. Except that one's different. And then it does it so fast, like this repeating. I've never been able to do it. It's so fast. So I want to start with that one because it's a really good endurance, way. And it's funny. I saw somebody mention. I think the comment went away like before we were live. Like they commented like earlier in the day, like do Fire in the Sky. I'm like, hey, like that's how funny. That's actually one of the licks I'm doing is Fire in the Sky. So let's walk through this real quick because, like I said, it's a really good endurance thing, and I'm going to talk about that ending there. Because it is such a cool lick that I'm going to work on the next week, and I'm going to try to get it up to speed. I want to get to that Zakk speed. So all we're doing is literally walking through all 5 of our pentatonic boxes. We're starting in box 5, and we end in box 5, and then the final lick is actually back in box 1. So the pattern is this. We're just going to go 5 to 3 on the high E string twice, and then 5 to 3 on the B string once. Now, this starts on a down pick. So you go down, up, down, up, down, up. It's all alternate picking the whole time. Now, the tricky part or the endurance part of it is that we need to do this 4 times in a row. So it's a rather, long lick to play. Right there, and that's just the first one. So all we're going to do then is slide up to box 1 of your A minor pentatonic. And this one we're going to go 8 to 5 on the high string, but the pattern stays the same. So this is what I was talking about before about sequencing ideas. I love sequence stuff because typically there's a pattern involved, and it just moves either diatonically, horizontally, whatever way it moves across the frets and across the scales. So this one we're just going to go 8-5 on the high E string. And then 8-5 on the B. And you do all of these 4 times in a row. So you have... Now you're going to shift up to box 3 at this point, and you're going to go 10-8 on the high E and the B. If anybody has questions, I will answer all of them as soon as I go through the lick once, and then we can, revisit parts if you need me to. But again, my picking stays the same. It's just straight up alternate picking. Shifting up to box number 3 at this point, we're gonna, and this is the only one that really changes to where both strings are not the same. On the high E string, it's gonna be 12 to 10. Don't do that. 12 to 10 twice. And then on the B string, 13 to 10. Right there. And if my guitar goes out of focus or something, please let me know. Now, the next one, he deviates a little bit from straight up pentatonic. If you wanted it to be pentatonic, hardcore, you would go 15-12 on the high A string, and then 15-13 on the B. But I'm pretty sure that Zakk is going 15-12, 15-12. So that B note he's hitting is actually still in key. It is just part of your A minor scale, and just not strictly A minor pentatonic. So it's all still in key. It also sounds great. It's just not, full on pentatonic. Now the final one of this pattern, we're going to go up here to 17 on the high E string, and it's 17-15 on both strings. So remember, twice on the high E, and then once on the B. Now the final lick here, the one that I can't play, but I'm determined. I'm going to work on it this week, and I'm going to get to where I can do it, is this. It's just straight up box 1 A minor pentatonic. But go listen to the recording, Fire in the Sky, in case you're just now tuning in. Listen to the solo to, I think it's track 6, like I said, Fire in the Sky. And hear how fast Zakk plays this. It is just like, I can only describe it other than like warp speed. So I'm just going pentatonic. I'm going 20-17 on the high E string, 20-17 on the B, and then 19-17 on the G. And he repeats that. Now the part that makes this difficult is that it's this big string skip. You have to get from here. Now I think he's picking everything. I don't know if it's because I'm up here it makes it harder for me. It's like twice as fast as that. It's really, really fast. So that's the first lick, Fire in the Sky. And if anybody has questions over it, I'm totally cool to revisit any of it. Chicken picking's tough whenever whenever it's like a 2-note per string thing. At least for me, I'm not the most sophisticated chicken picker. I need to do a rerun through the Speed Builder course. I can never keep my left hand up with my right. Yeah, that's a great one for that, Sean. Do the Ultimate Speed Builder 1 and 2, but there's also a really good one that's in the whole course ecosystem is the melodic picking workout. So that one has a lot of really fun ideas. Like the Ultimate Speed Builder is more like exercises, which is great. I think those are essential. But the melodic picking workout or licks, so I can't remember what I called it, is all about taking exercises, but they're all super melodic, and it kind of doesn't feel like practice anymore. You're just playing through them, and it just sounds really musical. What are your settings that you are using? They sound great. Oh, well, thank you very much, Bob. I'm using my Axe effects right now. So, and it was, hot here today. It was 72, which was awesome. It was so nice. But, having the amps on, they're like little heaters at this point. So I'm using my Axe effects, and this is just a patch that I made many, many years ago. And I always thought it sounded pretty good. And Fractal just has really good reverbs and delays. The Last Fill in Crazy Train is fast like that too. Yeah, there's a lot of those guys, man. But that's why they're the legends. I'm not trying to compete with Zakk, but I'm just trying to learn from him. I have the opposite problem. I can't keep my right hand up with my left. Yeah, so whatever is your. It's really interesting. I feel like players always have a dominant hand, even if you're like I'm right-handed, but I don't think that's necessarily, an important factor here. But some people favor legato, and some people just really pick up on picking. So it's unfortunately, it seems like nobody gets to just have both. It just takes a lot of work to work on both of them. Affiliate link for Lava Lamp. Dude, that is the best lava lamp. Hey, can you guys see it? How do you see that? I don't even see it in the camera. Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. My cable here is in the way. My wife got a lava lamp, and I was like, that thing's so cool. I want one too. And hers didn't have enough lava in it or something. And I got mine, and this one's just sick. So she's like, man, I'm so jealous of your lava lamp. Like, hey, what kind of hidden talent? I really know how to pick out a lava lamp. So. Thanks for helping us, Guitar Morals. Well, I'm right here with you, man. Guitar Moral reporting for duty. Amazing lava lamp. I honestly don't know where she got it from. It's just on Amazon somewhere. I think she ordered it. I can't take credit. I didn't even pick it out. The thing I noticed that when he kicks up the speed on a lick, he holds his pick a bit differently, almost Marty Friedman. Yeah, he does do that. And I tried doing that, you know, because I know just what you're talking about. Like, I hold my pick like this, which is a similar slant to, you know, it's a downward pick slant. But he goes like, I don't know how. It's just, man, it's so fast. Okay, focus, people, focus. Yeah, focus. Guitar. So let's move on to the second lick. Now, the second one, I wanted to throw in a lick that wasn't like your standard, just like burn it down, Zakk Wylde lick. Oh my God, come on. Work you phone. Okay, here we go. And this one comes from Demon Alcohol. And there's lots of really, really cool licks in here. Hey, Michael Nielsen! Dude, if I can ever figure out how to have, like, with OBS, I don't think I can have a guest on here. But I meant to ask you the other day. I was like, dude, do you ever want to do, like, a live stream together? Maybe I can check out StreamYard or something like that. But if you guys want the best Zakk Wylde videos that anybody has ever, I mean, no one out-Zacks the Michael. No one. Michael Nielsen here, check out his channel and just go to his search engine on his search bar and type in Zakk Wylde. Best Zakk Wylde content anyone has ever made on YouTube. Bar none. Nobody. And I mean nobody out-Zacks the Nielsen. Okay, so let's talk about this lick from Demon Alcohol. One of the things I always loved when Zakk would, you know, incorporate stuff like this was a little bit more of that bluesy, kind of country-ish, you know, swampy feel in his licks. But it's like the video. Yeah. So it goes like this. And you can hear a flaw with my guitar that I'm dreading. My Les Paul officially needs new frets. And I've put it off for so long. So long. But anyways, that's not what this is about. So let's talk about the Zakk lick. So I always thought this was cool. And typically, you know, I like to move some of these licks down. You know, it's all just A. And I like to view it in the context of like A minor pentatonic. All he's doing is minor third, major third. You know, I mean, it's such a cool lick. So let's learn it. So Zakk is all the way up here, and just in case anybody didn't see the pre-video, I am tuned down a half step. Most of the stuff Zakk was tuned down a half step. I think this particular, Demon Alcohol, he might have been in standard. One of these he's in standard, so I just kept them all half step down. But again, think of it as being box one of your A minor pentatonic scale, but now we're introducing the major third into everything. So minor pentatonic with the major third. So you're going to go 17 to 18 on the G, and then you go to 17 on the B. And it's almost like a pedal tone idea because we're going to go back to the G, 17, 18, and with your pinky, reach up and get 20 on the B. So you do that twice. Then kind of like a classic, again, back to the G, and we're going to go 17, 18, and then 19 on the D. So you got... Don't do that. It almost sounded like a Zakk lick, though, when he does like a... So... So that's like the first half of the lick. And for me, anytime I could relate something to something I already knew, like I said, in my mind, I'm just like, oh, it's the pentatonic scale. I'm just using the major third. It just makes it all click really, really easily for me. So I think that's about the right tempo and speed. So the next part here is just this little arpeggiated section. So we're just walking through these chords. So we're going to go to 18 on the B string, and now I'm going to bar my index finger on the G and the D. So I'm going to go 18, turn my volume down a little bit here, 18, 15, 15. And then I just kind of walk that B string note down, always barring 15 on the G and D. So I go 18, 15, 15, 17, 15, 15, 15, 15. So then I go back to 17. So I keep messing that note. Now the final one here, he changes. He goes 18 and then 15 on the G, 17 on the B, 15 on the G. So that whole section. And if you listen to the song, he's following the chords that are in the background. So, yeah. Okay, so it's like that A sharp. And then he goes. Then up to the C. So you've got... Now he transitions up, and you're going to be on 20th fret on the B, but barring 17 now with your index finger. So 20 on the B, 17 G and D, and then you go to 18, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, and then you go back to 18 on the B. So yeah. And then the same thing that we did before. 20 on the B, 17 on the G, 18 on the B, 17 on the G. And again, these are all sequenced ideas. If you notice, there's always a pattern involved. And lots of guys like Zakk sequenced, kind of every solo has some kind of sequencing idea involved inside of it. So this one, you had two. So there's that one, and then this. And the cool thing about these sequencing ideas is that once you get the pattern down, again, it's that whole, like, I relate it to something else, and it just clicks faster for me. So there's lick number 2 from Demon Alcohol. And let me know if anyone has questions over that one. You know what, Michael Nelson? I was wondering the same thing because of... but what I didn't know is, does Zakk, when he chicken picks, is he using... And you'd be the one to know this. Does he use his middle and his ring? Or is it strictly kind of like the middle finger kind of claw technique where he's plucking one note and then picking the rest? Because I've never been good at, like, yeah, like I can't get that to flow nicely. I have to pick it. Saw Zakk about a month ago. He was on fire. Yeah, Zakk's just so good. I have a really hard time going double time on the sequences. I can do them in time, but not double time. Yeah, and that's just going to be like a feel thing that you have to work out. And a metronome practice is really the key for that, in my opinion. Middle and ring goes full con. Oh, okay. If he does that, that's way easier. I mean, not easier for me, but like it makes more sense to me. What always gave me trouble with that is when you have a lot of distortion, you know, the only way to really play that is like it picks my hand up off the strings. Maybe it's just I need to change my technique, but it introduces a lot of noise. Where if I can pick it all, and I'm just doing like a up up down. Yeah. I can mute, and it just cleans it up for me. So that's actually not a bad picking idea just to work on, you know, just working through those. I mean, that's really interesting. Maybe hidden lick, you know, have that and you can work on your chicken picking. When I pick, it does sound closer. I thought it sounded like there was a lot of a pick attack, but Zakk also has nails, and I don't. So, you know, mine is just my fat no-nail fingers. So, which song is this? So this is from Demon Alcohol off of No Rest. Yes. So the first one we did was Fire in the Sky, and this one is Demon Alcohol, which has always been one of my favorite off that album. Devil's Daughter is another really, really cool one. I mean, the whole album is really, really cool. So, and like I said, maybe we'll do another stream and we'll venture into either more complicated Zakk licks, or maybe we'll just kind of go into, you know, No More Tears. Because, I mean, there's phenomenal licks in there. So any questions over those from anyone? I'll give you a minute here while I drink some cold iced tea. I say. Nice, that's a new pick. This is my broken. It's funny because you look at the picks that you use, and this just one side is always like destroyed on mine. So, doesn't look like it. I struggle with the Ghost Bend and No More Tears. I'm not sure what that is. Ghost Bend. My favorite Zakk stuff is the period between No More and Book of Shadows. Finding videos of him playing some random pickup. Oh yeah, that's like Pride of Glory era stuff. Clinics. It's awesome. I love all that stuff. I spent plenty of time. I was listening to Pride and Glory before I went live. Someone was saying that they wish that I, would have done a lick from there, and I'll show you one real quick. And I think it's from Horse Called War, where he just kind of goes to his pentatonic. So. You know, it's something like that. I mean, it's just such a cool. Now that is strictly from memory. That's not like I didn't make sure I'm playing this right. I just know it's some kind of pentatonic lick like that, where he's basically just walking on his pentatonic scale, and he bends up a half step. So I'm kind of getting that major third thing, which even that's a kind of a cool lick. Right into the demon alcohol lick. I've signed up for your lessons and haven't had a moment to even dive in yet. What are you doing? No, thank you for getting the lessons. I really do appreciate that, man. If you're digging this stuff, like I said, check out the sequencing stuff. So, like I said, and to anyone who wasn't here at the beginning, let's see how well I can operate this. A couple different things. If you dig sequences and want to get your sequence on, I have a 60% off coupon code link there for my essential sequences lick. Now that first one has some pentatonic ideas in it, 3-note per string. It's just some of my favorite sequencing ideas, like, you know, the classic. If you want to want a bunch of that kind of stuff, all in there. And then I also have essential sequences, essentially part 2, which is all 3-note per string ideas. So if anybody's interested in those, that is linked there for you. You won't regret that, man. They made me way better. Oh, thank you, Sean. So let's move into the final lick here, which is, you know, kind of a classic. I was debating on putting this one in here and maybe going with something else. But there's one thing I think I always see people do. Well, they don't play like Zakk. And it's, of course, from the Miracle Man solo. So when he plays it, when you're going through it, I see a lot of people pause at the end of each one. And if you listen to it, it sounds like, at least what I'm hearing, maybe I'm hearing a ghost note or something in there. Someone who knows more about Zakk could chime in. Maybe if Michael Nilsson's still here, he can maybe confirm or deny this. So maybe I'm the one who's been playing it wrong this whole time. But Zakk is working his way through 3 different arpeggios. So essentially this first one, it's like a B sus2 chord. And then he goes to the next one, which is like a C sharp minor. And then you have, which is a D major. And you can keep going if you wanted to. You could go E minor. Then you'd be back home at your F sharp minor, which is kind of what this whole thing is based around. So Zakk is both playing out of the key and he's outlining the chords that are happening in the background. So the pattern is this. And you're simply going to, it's just a 2-string arpeggio. And I'll talk about the picking here in a second because it's kind of crucial as well. But you're going to go 12th fret on the B to 9th fret on the high E string, and then 14th fret on the high E. So you do it 4 times in a row, and then you do it one more time, and there's a slight variation. So it's all it is just 12, 9, 14, 12, 9, 14, 12, 9, 14, 12, 9, 14. The 5th time, 12, 9, 14, 12. He goes back up. So our picking is going to be down, down, up. And I always explain it to people as it's not 2 down picks in the sense of 2 individual motions. It's one motion that gets 2 strings on a down and then 1 motion up. You can see my hand. I'm not going down, down, up, down, down, up. I'm going one motion. So let your pick kind of fall through the strings. But it's not that either. There's note separation there. It's not a sweep in the sense of going like, you know, we're not doing that. So when I do that last one on the 5th one, I go down, down, up, up. So Now, what I do to make this work, because I slant my pick down like this. Can you see that? When I'm picking, this favors moving through the strings like this. So this lick is ideal for guys who hold their pick like me, except whenever we have to go back up. If your pick is slanted down and you try to go up through the strings, it's like impossible. So what I do is I slightly flick my wrist, and you'll see it when I do it. That little movement right there. What I'm doing is I'm changing the way my pick is angled like this, and then when I have to go up through 2 strings, my hand shifts a little bit and essentially turns my pick like this. I'm trying to take the path of least resistance through the strings. So, again, slanting down. And I just shift my hand a little bit, and it changes the angle of my pick to where I can comfortably and easily kind of cut through the strings. Now, that, like I said before, is a B sus2, and you could keep that. I mean, anytime you learn arpeggios like this, learn the full thing, because, I mean, it's a cool sounding. You know, the whole thing, I'm like, I love suspended arpeggios. So the next one is going to be your C sharp minor. Now, since it is a sequenced idea, look, you got the theme at this point. Everything is sequenced. Everything that our right hand has to do stays the same, and everything that our left hand has to do, we're just on different frets now. So if anything, this is actually easier because our fingers get to be a little bit closer together. So same pattern, same everything, just different frets. 14 on the B, 12 on the high E string, and then 16 on the high. So down, down, up again. No, don't do that. There we go. And again, that last one is down, down, up, up. So you have right there. That transition is the 2 ups. Hold on 1 second here. What has happened here? What has happened? There we go. It just sounded so weird in my headphones. Okay. That's the second one. Now the third one is outlining a D major. And this one is going to be 15 on the B to 14 on the high E string, and then 17 on the high E string. So down, down, up, 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 up. And you put them all together. Now the next lick is also cool. I did not tab this out, but another classic, like blistering Zakk Wylde pentatonic lick. But that's the, you know, the Miracle Man. So those arpeggios, and like I said, you know, I would encourage you to try to learn the full arpeggios that are in there. So like I said, now next is that C sharp minor, D major, then you have E minor, and then F sharp minor. You can keep going. It's just going through your scale. So it's really all that he's doing. All these chords are out of F sharp minor. Bow, down, down. Oh, I forget the next chord. that whole thing. It's just such a mean in your face. And he goes in, and what's funny, I always think the solo is faster than what it is. Like I always try to go in, like I go in a little too high. And I listen to the solo, I'm like, oh, it's not that fast. So, Juggernaut, I am tuned down half a step. Sorry, I said it at the beginning of the stream, and I've tried to let everybody know, but I will try to remember to keep saying that. So those are double stop bends. Yeah, I mean, especially the way Zakk bends stuff. Because he'll do them, and they're like, it's like a harmonic on both strings. It's like it's hard to do. So Zakk is just the man. So, any questions over that one? Pun intended. Yeah, his bending is pretty wild. I'm surprised I haven't done more like wild jokes this whole time. So, and this mic keeps falling down. Harmonic chords pen. Yeah, literally what he does. I'm just like, what in the world? Who does that? And like, oh yeah, Zakk Wylde does that. Is that Diet Coke iced tea? So it is Milo's unsweet tea that I dumped honey into. Was it like cup ASMR? Got any cool melodic 80s licks like epic sounding? Oh, melodic. Off the top of my head. I mean, I feel like that Miracle Man's pretty melodic. That opening part. But I mean, go learn like Key Marcello stuff. Really, like listen to the song. It's not so much a lick. Okay, I'll give you a melodic lick. Go listen to Y&T's "Summertime Girl." Yeah. That's my guitar's out of tune. I can't remember the lick off the top of my head. Something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. RNA music in the house. But listen to "Summertime Girl" by Y&T. And then if you want melodic playing, like I said, it's not so much like a lick, but listen to like the Superstitious solo from Europe with Key Marcello. That one is super, super melodic. How's it go? I don't remember anymore. I don't remember. I don't want to do that, like, fish for notes for an hour. You're like, what is he doing? I'm like, I'm just trying to find one note. But anyways, listen to Key Marcello. I'm sorry, missed it earlier. What is your rig tonight? So I'm still using my Axe Specs, and this is actually just the same old patch that I have used for 10 years on it. You know, the which is like a Friedman BE with an 808 in front of it, and then stereo, which I don't think you guys are getting it in stereo, but stereo tape delay, and then medium room sound. Tattoo Dancer is another awesome one. Tattoo Dancer. Vito Brada, you will find. Oh yeah, Vito's another great one for melodic soloing. Do I have a playlist? I don't. You know what? This might sound crazy to people. I have never once in my life listened to Apple Music. I've never once listened to Spotify, any streaming service. I've never listened to a single song on any of them. And I never will. Got RNA up in this hizzy. But playlist on YouTube, I don't. But maybe I should. You know what? Would you guys like that? Like if I made a playlist of songs that we're gonna talk about here, for you to go listen to for people who have not heard. Like if you're not familiar with the No Rest album, and we're talking about Demon Alcohol and Fire in the Sky, that could be really interesting if I made a playlist of songs for you guys on YouTube. So who said that? Curb Fiend, you just gave me a really good idea. Robert, you going to see Zakk and Pantera in Nashville? I don't know. You know, it's I love that Rex and Phil and Zakk are you know, paying homage to Pantera. I don't know if and this sounds so snobby, but I loved Dime, and I plan on doing one of these live streams about Dime because I learned a lot from him. But it'd be kind of like seeing Van Halen without Eddie being in the band. And I can't think of a person better than Zakk to do it, and I'm sure Zakk does a killer job because he's just phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. You know, for me to see Pantera without Dime. I mean, really, and Vinny. I mean, again, it'd be like, to me, seeing Van Halen without Alex and Eddie. Care to share why? Just because, you know, no one can play like Dime. You know, and as good as it might be. And again, I could change my mind. Like maybe if a buddy wants to go or something, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go watch him. Because I haven't heard any clips or anything like that. So I'm not judging anything about it. It's just personally, again, I'm like, you know, I didn't get to see Pantera, and I wish I would have. And, you know, to me, again, there was a whole period of my life where, like, all I knew was Pantera stuff. Like, not all I knew, but, like, all I learned was Pantera. Like, scoured the internet looking for clips of Dime. I remember watching his, like, old clinic videos that he did. I remember when Dime got, you know, shot, and I was in middle school, I think I was. Maybe just starting high school. But, you know, he was definitely a big influence on me early on, especially the Cowboys and even Great Southern Trendkill and, I mean, Vulgar Display of Power. There's so many of them. I just learned so much Dime stuff. You feel very much the same. Yeah, and I'm not saying that. I mean, Zakk and Dime were best buddies, so I think that there's no one better than Zakk to have do something like that. And I love that it's kind of like a tribute to them. But yo, any chance you can show off your red Charvel? Excuse me. Do you mean the Crackle one? That one is not out right now. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot. That one needs a lot of TLC to it. I am gonna have some stuff done to this guitar, which, if any of you guys know, this is like my favorite guitar that I've owned. Probably the one I've had the longest of all of my guitars now. 11 or 12 years at this point. But it just needs frets really bad, and the volumes don't work the best. And these actually aren't the original pots, so I'm going to take it into Glazier's, and Nick said he's going to try to fix the pots for me so I get the original ones back in here, because I do think that it changed the way that the guitar sounded. It's been a while now, so I'm like, who knows if I remember. But I remember getting these pots in here, and I'm like, oh, the guitar is like, there's like a little more like brittleness to it or something. So, see, oh, I'm on the wrong thing. And the frets are just shot. They're already the low 70s frets. And I asked Nick, I said, is there a way to refret a Les Paul? And on Les Pauls, you know, you got, and everyone hates the way I say Les Paul. Sorry, Les Paul. Listen, I'm from the Midwest. I say Les Paul. And the fret nibs, I'm like, I want to keep those on there. Love how much you had to search around through the rows of no, that's not. I just couldn't see. The way I have to do the live stream setup is I have my iPad and the camera, and the light is here, and there's not rows of guitars here. I promise you. I just couldn't see. I can't see any of the guitars right now. I can see like two of them over here through the camera cable and stuff, but I can't see anything else. No, I was not trying to be a jerk. I gotta wade through all these guitars. I don't remember. No. Definitely not the case. Is it true? Look, is it true your mom worked 3 jobs to buy your first guitar? Yes, it is. And it's very true. No, that is a comment from my mom. What they did do is, so I got my first guitar from a place in Shelby, Ohio called ESL Music. It's closed down now. But I remember I got it, and oh no, I'm thinking of my Strat. We did get that. My first guitar came from ESL. It was a silver Samick guitar. And I don't remember. I remember going in there, and the owner, gave me the guitar, and he's like, "How does this one feel?" I'm like, "I've never played a guitar in my life." I'm like, "Feels great." I'm like, as I'm like trying to hold, like, you know, the first time you grab a guitar and the guitar, like, you don't know how to hold it, so it's just kind of like sliding down your lap. It just, isn't it weird, the little things that become so natural to you? Like now I move all over the place and the guitar just sits on my lap, but when you're a beginner, you're like hugging this thing because you're like trying to keep it from falling off your leg. So I always find that stuff funny. I'm in Milwaukee and say the same thing. Exactly. You know what's funny? Someone pointed out, they asked what my accent was. And I'm like, do people from Ohio have an accent? And then they pointed it out to me, and I can't not, like, I hear it constantly when me and my wife say things. Like, you know, it's, most people call it Detroit, but then I say Detroit. And it's just like all these little things. I'm like, oh, that's that Midwest like Ohio thing, like, you know, Detroit, and all these hard syllables inside of stuff that maybe aren't supposed to be there. There's a street named after Les. It's called Les Paul Parkway. I was joking because above having 2 guitars, I have 9 and need another one. Always need one more, right? First guitar was a Samick as well. Awesome. Yeah, those old Samics were great. Detroit, Rock City. That's a rock star. Have you been here long, man? I don't think I saw your comment until now. Oh, this guitar needs frets so bad. Northeast Ohio, I hear. Hey, that's where we were. Mansfield, 419. I used to always have a Red Wing jacket as a kid that I would wear. I've never seen a hockey game in my life. But I had a Red Wing jacket. And I have watched Mighty Ducks, so I don't know. Pretty much professional. You're from Milwaukee. Told I have an accent. Yeah. He's from Flint. Yeah, so maybe people from Michigan say Detroit. It's like every time we go back to Ohio, there's an exit that takes you to, we say Louisville, Kentucky, but even the GPS so it goes like Louisville, Kentucky. I'm like, uh-oh. Who's wrong here? I definitely say Louisville. Refretting with stainless steel or staying with nickel? I'm going to say with nickel. What is it? Oh, such a cool solo. Kind of E flat. I don't know. I've never learned any Prince stuff, if I'm being honest. I've never heard and say. St. Louis Prince say 40 instead of 40. Sure, if key, but the tone was just right. It probably, yeah, that, like. Ooh, that was a good one. Hey, that was it. That's about how fast he does it. Hey, just need to get my hands warmed up. I had it. It's gone now. I'll never get it back again. My Alexa, just got to kick off at least one good old super chat to say thank you, bro. Love you, bro. Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, buddy. But never, no obligation to ever super chat, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys watching. And I forgot to say it earlier because we'll still be on here for a little bit more. Oh, yeah. But if anybody has questions, do me a huge favor because sometimes it's hard for me to follow the chat on the iPad. Just make sure you put at Robert Baker, just like my name is on the channel with the space and everything. And it pings it for me so I can see it. It highlights it for me. So if you've asked something and I keep missing it, just do that and it helps me see it. And if I do miss something, don't be afraid to type it in and ask again because, well, I'm blind. If I had $1. Supposedly, a St. Louis thing doesn't exist. Did anybody learn that Sykes lick from the video I did? The way he kicks off the Crying in the Rain solo? It's so hard to do. And then... whatever he does. Nice Les Paul. I watched the video where you drove to get it. Super cool. Oh, that's an old throwback video. And wasn't it funny? I was just really wanting a Les Paul. And it's like my favorite Les Paul. And I've played others that are so much nicer than this one. Probably technically sound better. And I have the gold top, which is awesome, and it sounds really, really good. But this is just like become such a reference point for me. Like anytime I try out something new, I immediately just like plug this thing in, and I'm like, oh, okay, is that? Yeah, that works good. Oh, snap! What did I do with it? It's gone. The Rockman pedal. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Sorry, my nose is running. I probably sound gross. But check it out. So I got it. I recorded a whole song with... so originally... so I bought this. Not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. I bought this from Sweetwater. And I'm going to tell you guys the story of how I got it. Because I got it early. Not like the people who demoed it. But at midnight, I happened to be on... YouTube just watching some stuff, and Leon Todd posted his video, and then it was like a little bit later Pete Thorne posted his, and I was like, oh cool, those I've been hearing for a long time about this pedal coming out. I'm like, it must have come out, and I'm like, wait, do they have them in stores yet? And I just happened to click on Sweetwater, and they had them in stock for about 30 minutes. So that's why if some of you saw my post, I shared a post in the community section on here and on Instagram. And like I said, they sold out right away. And I got it last week. So originally, I just bought it for myself. I wasn't going to make a video about it. But a bunch of you have asked for it. And I'm like, okay. And I ended up writing a song with it and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, well, maybe I will make a video about it. So the demo video will be sponsored. Because then I just reached out to Sweetwater. And I'm like, well, I'm going to make a video anyways. Are you guys cool with maybe sponsoring it? So it will be a sponsored demo video. But I bought the pedal myself. And one of the things that a lot of people keep asking about is running it into an amp. And it's not going to sound the best that way. It's not going to sound really good. You're going to need to EQ your amp in a very unnatural way because that is not what this pedal is intended for. If you want the actual Boston sound of those direct kind of like, late 70s, late 70s, 80s clean tones, it has to be right into your interface. You cannot put this into an amp. Because as soon as you plug this into an amp, it's not direct anymore, and you're going to hear this stuff, and it's just not going to sound that good. So this is really a pedal meant to be ran directly into an interface. That's how you get those classic direct sounding cleans, like the Def Leppard thing and all that stuff. So obviously the Boston thing, Joe Satriani, I forget who else used these, but it's an awesome pedal. They did such a good job on it. So if you guys do get one of those, just know that this is intended to be ran directly into an interface, and you can run it into your amp, and it can still sound good, but you're going to have to EQ your amp to where basically like none of your other stuff would sound good, because this is going to give you a lot of high. It reacts kind of like strangely with an amp without EQing it in a different way. Great live hang. Hey, Guitar Breakdown. What Fender amp is that below the aux on the level amp? So that is a Super Reverb, but it's one of the Tone Master Pro series. So it's it's a solid state one. It sounds great. It takes pedals really, really well, and just kind of a cool amp. It's lightweight. Mike said, "What do you think about DeMartini Piercy playing again with Carlos Cavasso being the other guitarist once again?" I think that's great. I mean, not to discredit anyone else in the band, but I mean, you gotta have DeMartini. Nobody can play like him, and Piercy sounds a little rough nowadays, but no one sounds like Steve Piercy. So those two, I think, are the most essential ingredients in getting, the core Rat sound, and Carlos being in there. I mean, he was in the band for a long time before that. Early Megadeth had Rockman into a Marshall amp. That's interesting. Really good question, man. Why don't amps make it with... Oh, wait. We got a really good question, man. Why don't amps make it with the boost already in it? Well, some amps do. Like the Rev amps have different... I don't know if it's gain stages would be the correct term for it, but they have different levels of boost that you can throw in it. And some do. There's just different kinds of boosts that, react differently with an amp. So some amps do have boosts and stuff like that, but typically I think that it's such a individual thing. Like when you're boosting your amp, like some people are going to like the light speed pedal, and some people are going to like an 808, and some people are going to, all this stuff. So I don't know. I think it's a tricky area, and it probably adds, a decent amount of cost, and it probably brings the noise floor up a little bit, having more components involved in there and kind of an already noisy situation. But I don't make amps, so I can't really speak on that knowledgeably. Do you know all the modes, Rob? Yeah, in essence, I know them all. I mean, do I use like Locrian and stuff like that? Not at all. Do I use the Locrian shape? A ton. So, and I think it was a live stream a couple weeks ago. We kind of talked about this, but a really good way to practice stuff like that is with droning notes. So if I just drone this, like that's just normal E major. But if I wanted to do E Lydian, which is kind of the Steve Vai Satriani thing, a whole different sound to it. I could do the E mixed Lydian thing. Or like Phrygian. That's just over one droning, stagnant note. So it's different once you get into more sophisticated chords. But, I mean, that kind of stuff is really, really useful in understanding how to navigate and get different sounds. To me, the biggest thing is the sound that I'm going after when I hear something. Because, if I come up with a riff that goes... pentatonic is really not what my ear is hearing there. I'm not going to go like... that doesn't really like vibe. But Phrygian would sound great over that. That whole thing. So, what is your favorite mod, if you have one? Mod or mode, like guitar mod or mode, and maybe the E got left out on that one. I heard them interview Eddie Trunk. They will be at M3. I think I'm missing something out here. Helps eliminate guesswork. You can make things sound certain flavor using various modes. Yeah, exactly. So, you could sit there and, play something. Like, just come up with different sounds. Or you could do like a cool riff that is maybe very Mixolydian, I'm scared to refret my standard from A7. Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I'm scared to refret this thing, too. I think I'm just going to have to take it to Glazier's and have Nick hold my hand the whole time. Nick, if you're watching this, be ready. Do I have any courses teaching the modes? I don't have one dedicated teaching the modes, but I have ones where I lay out the modes or I talk about the chords inside of a scale, like the chord inversion workout and stuff like that. Talk about a lot of that stuff, but I don't have a dedicated modes course. And part of that is because I think that maybe the way that I view the modes might not be the I don't want to say there's no right or wrong way, but it's like I view them in a really weird way. It's kind of like I said, I go back to what I was mentioning before. I relate a lot of stuff to something I already know. So like how I played all of those right there, I don't know why my brain works the way that it does with this stuff, but like when I'm think E Phrygian, I'm just like, oh, that's just the A minor scale, which is the same thing as C major. So I just have to be more aware, like where my root and third are, like, and that's just how my brain computes a lot of that stuff. And then I'm just like, oh, if I move it down a half step, then it's Lydian, which is B major. And then if I want to do, the Mixolydian. That was not Mixolydian, by the way. I just relate things to other scales, and it makes sense to me, but I don't know if it would make sense to everyone else. Oh, snap. Quentin James in the house. What you gonna do about that? Quentin James in the house. There ain't no doubt. Oh, Quentin James song. Quentin James in the house. Mike said, Robert, are you still practicing your upward, downward picking escape used in the Troy Grady Uncle Ping showed you? I've been using that technique for 8 or 9 years now. Yeah, absolutely. And especially guys like Ben who have incredible picking, knowledge and know how. I'm just envious. I've done a lot more with like the whole burst style picking that Ben showed in there, but a lot of that stuff. So. Chip Boy said, actually, you view the modes correctly. Oh, that's interesting. Why chords come from scales? Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And scales modes, exactly. So yeah, like I said, I've just always been like, I don't know if it's like just a weird way that I relate everything to each other, but I always tell people modes are always in the same order. And sometimes this makes sense to people, and sometimes they don't get it. But what I mean by that is, if you start Ionian, which is your major scale, if you start Ionian, the shape or the mode that follows it is always Dorian. It's like the pentatonic boxes. Box 2 always follows box 1. Box 3 always follows box 2. So in scales... but you can start anywhere. Like you could start on box 5, and it doesn't matter if you're starting on box 5. The next box is box 1. They're always in that order. You cannot mix and match the order of those. That's just the way that the scale is laid out. Modes is very similar. You just have 7 of them. So Ionian, Dorian always follows Ionian. Phrygian always follows Dorian. Lydian always follows that. Mixolydian, Aeolian, and then all the way to Locrian. So they always are in that order. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, cool. So if I want to play, whatever it would be, E Lydian. Okay. Well, I know. Sorry, that's. Okay, I know that's the same as playing B major. So then I just I'm like, okay, but that's my Ionian shape. So the next shape in line would be my Dorian shape over A. Next would be Phrygian. Oh, messed that one up. Next would be Lydian. Next would be Mixolydian. Next would be, what did I say? Mixolydian. Next would be Aeolian. Now, obviously, you don't want to play them like that. Like, that just sounds like you're playing scales. But that's how it unfolds the fretboard to me when I visualize them. So I'm not thinking like, oh snap, what is E Lydian? I'm just like, oh, it's this, it's B major, and then I just have it all. It just kind of opens up the fretboard. And so on. Although I kind of got sloppy there at the end. But that's how it clicks in my brain, that it always it's always in order, you know? So I know that if I'm like starting A Phrygian, well, the shape behind it would be Dorian. And the one behind that would be Ionian. And so on. So, and you keep going with that. So it's very similar to the pentatonic approach of like 1 through 5. They always follow the same order. So I'm sure that was incredibly boring for a lot of people. Knowing different patterns for the same scale lets you put the root note in different strings so you can play it in different positions on the neck. What tone? So yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. So again, the modes is a rabbit hole to get into. We'll leave it at that. Rob, you need to do this for the Jake and Randy too. Maybe Joe Holmes also. Yeah, I mean, I could totally do that. So, like I said, I want to do one of these live lesson things with Dimebag, and then we're gonna do a Slash one, and then a Nuno one, and just kind of keep working our way through them. You know, so Randy would definitely be in there. Never boring. Well, I try not to be. Not boring at all. Alex books civilian guitars. Right. Also books rat. Oh, you're just talking about something else. Oh, what in the world just happened? It's like letting me move your comments around? Oh, no. Sorry. I'm getting football texts from different people. I love football. Lifelong Browns fan. So we got some potentially bad news today. And we'll have to see how that unfolds. But Warren DiMartini for sure. I enjoy it and don't know what you're talking about. Key for me learning this approach around 2008, 2009, the modes and scales and legato. Yeah. I mean, to me, Satriani is like the blueprint. Like, oh, you want to play very modally and have these modal sounds, like him and Steve Vai. And I'll tell you who unlocked it for me personally was actually Reb Beach. So Reb, and you can find it on YouTube. He had a VHS that I had way back in the day. And he talks about this same concept of how, like, if he's playing an A chord and he plays, you know, your F sharp minor pentatonic shape over it, he's like, that's major. And then if I want it to be mixed Lydian, like, he goes through this whole thing, and that's really what clicked for me was when Reb explained it. But you know, everyone's gonna be different with that stuff. So if you've never watched the Reb Beach DVD, well, it's a VHS that someone uploaded here on YouTube now. It's called Cutting Loose. Watch that whole thing. He doesn't teach you licks. He doesn't teach you anything like that. It's much more conceptual, which personally is what I prefer, because I like to take the ideas from something that someone shows you and turn them into your own ideas. And it's, you know, there's just so many good things in that. I keep saying DVD, but it was a VHS. Sorry about Myles Garrett. I know. That's not what we needed. That is not what the Browns needed. VHS. I gotta find. I have it somewhere in one of these boxes. I have my VHS of Red Beach Cutting Loose, and I have Paul Gilbert's Intense Rock 1 and 2 and all that stuff. So Frank Zappa also played in Lydian a lot. Yeah, that sounds like a Frank Zappa mode to play in. Lynch hates spell check. Ooh, we'll do a George Lynch episode. For sure. There's one to do. Oh no, Fishbowl, you're a Panthers fan? I feel bad for you, man. You're right there with me. You're right there with me. Although you guys mistakenly kind of turned it on there at the end a little bit. You know, I mean, look at me. I live in Tennessee now, so we have the Titans, who have the number 1 seed or number 1 draft pick, and then I have the Browns is my lifelong team, my ride or die team, and they have the 2nd round pick. So that tells you how well their seasons went. Panthers should have been up there. You guys done messed it up. Started winning. Lynch was kind of the flat 5 diminished sound. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he would have like a pentatonic, and he would hit that, and but he was very shape based as well. All that kind of stuff. So. The Browns are always bad news. Ain't that the truth? But here we are. Here we are. I stole a lot of stuff from Lynch without knowing he'd done it 20 years before. Lynch has so many cool things, inside of his playing. So many great solos and riffs. I mean, hold It's so cool. No, that's what it is. Just cool. Cool for days. Dude, Atomic 5150, Kurt Mitchell. Okay, you can find some of them on here. He has a YouTube channel. On YouTube, I cannot think what it's called. I don't think it's called Kurt Mitchell. Just YouTube him. He has a YouTube channel. Still, just what a beast of a guitar player. If anybody does not remember the In the Style of videos that Kurt Mitchell did, they were amazing because the real early ones, they were so roughly shot. Like, I remember the one, I think I got like the Leonard Skinner one or something like that, and he's like sitting there like burping and belching and coughing and blowing his nose and like all, like, it's so funny, like left it all in there. But dude, I mean, monstrous chops. His Eddie Van Halen, I think he did 2 of them maybe. DVD that I had, which I think they originally started on VHS and got converted to DVD. Those were some of the best. I learned more about Eddie's playing from Kurt Mitchell, I think, than anyone. And then he even did, there's one, if you can find it, I have it somewhere, that Kurt did one finally that wasn't in the style of anybody else. It was like in his own style. And so many cool things I stole from him. I remember one of his licks was, oh, see, there's the volume. It's like he took box 5 of his pentatonic scale, and he was throwing in all these chromatic notes, and I'm like, what, you can do that? And then I just remember watching that. I'm like, oh man, you don't have to just follow the scale. Like, you can use the other notes too. So lots of light bulb moments from Kurt Mitchell. You just got me like way too pumped up when someone said Kurt Mitchell. I'm like, man, I haven't thought about him in a while, but he does have a YouTube channel. I know, I wish someone would upload all of those on YouTube. I used to go into Metronome Music in Mansfield, Ohio, and every week or 2 weeks, whatever it was, I don't know if my mom remembers this because she's in the chat, and I would get one of those every time. Like they had them, they were just like in like a box over by the tablature and all that stuff. And I just rifled through them, and I got like Leonard Skinner and then the Van Halen one. And, I mean, they even did like stuff like Three Doors Down. So they went all the way into the early 2000s and, did like, I remember I had a Pearl Jam one. I remember there being a Nirvana one that I did not get. Who else? There's an AC/DC one. Your fastest lick is had in the notes you normally don't play. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, big old chromatic lick. The Starlick stuff was great too. That was a little bit before my time, so those weren't really around anymore whenever I was learning to play. I didn't really discover the Starlick stuff until YouTube became a thing, and then those were more accessible because I personally never saw those available for sale anywhere. I didn't know they existed until YouTube came around and people started uploading them that way. My blues scale has 15 notes. You got like microtonal notes in there. What do I think about other channels that misinform the music industry? What do you mean by that? I mean, like, teach stuff wrong? Because I probably do that too. There's always something that's being missed. Metal Method. I do. You know what? Metal Method was another one. I've only got 2 of those. I think they did one with Jeff Loomis, and they did one with Gus G. And I still do the one lick that I learned from that. It's just diminished lick that Gus teaches. Yeah. There we go. That's the lick. It's a cool lick. And that stuff was always worth it to me. Like, if I had to learn one lick out of a DVD, out of a magazine, it was all worth it. Ooh, another really, really good, important DVD for me was they only did a few, but Mark Tremonti did one with Fret 12, which Fret 12 is his company, but the Sound and the Story, I think, was the series, and Mark's one was super important for me on the legato side of stuff. He had really, really good legato exercises in there, and it, you know, not that I have any style of legato, but Mark has a way of playing legato, and it was really, really influential on me. Just kind of that. And I think I remember one of them, it was like just going through the scale or something. I can't remember. But something like that, where it was just kind of working your way through. And then just going through it, and I was like, man, that was a really good lick. Or I remember he had one, all these different licks. So that was another. If you can find one of those, Mark Tremonti, Sound and Story, is really, really cool from Fret 12. I don't know if they still sell them, but. Guitar for the practicing music, yeah. So I didn't get to see any of that stuff. I remember my favorite magazine, which I think got absorbed by Guitar World because I think they went out. But there was one called Guitar One. So I remember, like, Guitar Player didn't have much in there that I was ever really interested in. Guitar World was always okay, but the two best ones were, and I don't know if these are still around, Guitar Technique, which I believe was like a UK or like a Europe magazine that we got over here in the States. I could be wrong, though. And then Guitar One. Those, Guitar One and Guitar Techniques had the most guitar playing in them of any of them. So, and I have a really good exercise, a really good one that I kept over the years. And it has, I think it's like 25 licks and exercises, but it's like from everyone. It's like Steve Vai, Satriani, Yngwie, Mark Tremonti. They just go through the whole list of people, Slash, and they all gave them like one lick, and they put them all in this one issue. It's really, really cool. Guitar One is also where I discovered who Richie Kotzen was. He had a lesson, and back then, you know, this is all pre-YouTube, the magazines came with a disc, and that's how you viewed the videos. You had to put them like a CD-ROM, and you'd have to get on your computer so you could watch, like, oh, here's Richie Kotzen giving you 10 cool licks, if you wanted to hear the audio versus just seeing the tabs that were in the magazine. Guitar One had the most songs. Yeah, Guitar One just had, it was like the best of everything. It was always my favorite. Just dated myself. I put together a massive sheet music collection. Oh, I just lost your comment. Music collection from the LimeWire days. Man. I have every issue of Guitar for the Practicing Musician and Guitar One, Guitar School, Maximum. That's amazing. That's so cool. I remember, you know, I had a couple of DVDs from Andy Aladort. I never knew how to say his name, but I had, oh, you know what? Troy Stetna did a Sound and Story with Fret 12, and I had that one. And I had a book from Troy Stetna, and he taught me like a really crucial lick. So we'll end with this. Unless you guys have a couple more questions. Let me see what time it is. Yeah, we'll wrap things up here. But he had a lick in one of his books, and it went like this. It was just pentatonic. But I think he emphasized on using all four fingers for it is what made it tricky for me. And then he had another one where he was just like... it's like a take on the Paul Gilbert one, but it was a little bit more difficult. But he had, like I said, if you think of your pentatonic box 1 and box 2 on the D and G, And then you go to the next one. Doing that, but making sure you use all 4 fingers, not stretching or reaching. That last one is really difficult because you use pointer, ring, middle, pinky. And so on. So, and then Zakk Wylde. No, I'm not warmed up enough anymore. So, there are still printed magazines. I don't know, to be honest. Oh no! See, oh, I got Joe texting me. What did Cleveland do now? All right, I'm gonna go sulk in the corner after this. They're up vinyl records. See, I never had those, but I always thought those looked crazy. I'm like, how does that possibly work? Man, which I do not remember which choice set in the book it was. It was like something shred, I think, was in the title of it, or fast or shred, something in there. He had really good exercises in it though. That stuck with me. But cool. All right, guys. And gals, maybe there's some gals here too. Speed picking for the lead guitar. There it is. That was it. Yep, that was it. Who said that? Fishbulb. Speed picking for lead guitar. That was the one. I can see the cover, you know, in my head, but I couldn't see the title. Rye Guy, oh, dude, thank you so much for the super chat. Had fun, dude. Good job tonight. Hey, thank you guys for making these something that I really look forward to. You know, I didn't know if I was like, is this gonna be like a regular thing, semi-regular? But you guys have made them really fun to where I'm like, you know, Friday rolls around, I'm like, man, I gotta start thinking about what I'm gonna do for Monday, and I actually look forward to them. So thank you guys all so much for tuning in. If anybody wants it, I'll throw it in the chat one more time. The essential sequence. If you liked any of the stuff that I did tonight, inadvertently, pretty much everything we talked about was sequencing. So, 60% off my guitar course, Essential Sequences, is in the chat. It's linked down below. It's pinned up top. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. Just accept defeat and start using lots of sequences on your guitar. So, thank you all very, very much. I'm going to try to get the outro to work this time. I got it to work last time, and a couple hiccups in there. But thank you guys all very much. I appreciate you. And on that note, oh, man, I'm nervous. Is it going to work? Could it be? Could this actually work? Let's see. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm very interested. The computer's doing something. I'm giving you guys play-by-play. We are so close. Later, guys. Appreciate you.